Hey, it's John with Vision Advisors. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule, whether you're having an opportunity to watch this during the day or it's the evening time and you're sitting at home catching up on your personal development. Thank you for taking time to join us as we're going to explore a new product offering to Vision Advisors. You know, it's not every day we get a chance to bring something new to the marketplace. We're going to have an opportunity to introduce a new indexed universal life product today that I know you're going to enjoy. This is one of those unique opportunities to be able to have a conversation with your clients that very few individuals are having right now, because this product is limited distribution. It's new to the market into the independent distribution stage. And so you're going to have an opportunity to really begin to have a conversation about an old company, established company that's been around for a long, long time with a great history in the life insurance space, but also have an opportunity to talk about a company that many of them have probably never heard of unless they've been working with a captive or a career agency. So this is a unique opportunity for you to be able to solve client problems, but to solve it so that you're not competing directly with the same product that everybody else is bringing to the table. On the call with me is a good friend and someone I enjoy doing webinars with, Mr. Jeremy Rubin, who's one of the vice presidents at Partners Advantage. And Jeremy, we appreciate the unique relationship we have with you guys and the partnership that Partners and Vision has with Ameritas, and looking forward to learning some more about this amazing new IUL today. So thanks for being available.
Hey, thank you so much, and happy to be here.
Well, let's jump right in the middle of this thing, Jeremy, and let's just kind of talk about this IUL opportunity and maybe really where it fits.
Yeah, absolutely. First and foremost, I always like to start these with appreciation. So for the Vision advisor producers on the line, thank you so much for what you do. From a person who's now on the wholesale distribution side, but was a agent for 10 years, I know your jobs aren't easy. I know you're out there fighting a good fight and doing good work for your clients, and nobody respects what you go through more than I do. So thank you for your efforts. Keep up the good work, and take care of all those clients. Yes, as John mentioned, we Partners Advantage and Vision Advisors had worked together for a long time now, and John and I enjoy spending time together, enjoy doing things like this, things that lead to conversations, that lead to helping clients, and ultimately lead to sales for you and your organizations. And we're excited to bring this Ameritas story to you all. This is a contract, an opportunity that only 2 national marketing organizations in the country have. And again, Partners Advantage is one of them. This is a product that has been revamped and is unique in its style, which we're going to get into in the next few slides. But again, it's a competitive IUL. I would say it really has 2 sweet spots. And that is for cash accumulation. And when I say cash accumulation, this is really for your household IUL, if you will. Again, they're going to see large target face amounts. They're going to see large premiums, but it's also very competitive for, that household that can, put into an app or put into a contract $5,000 a year, $6,000 a year, $7,000 a year of discretionary income. Maybe they make too much to fund a Roth, and they need something where they can control the one thing that they won't be able to control in the future, and that's taxes. We can talk a little bit about how that sings in that marketplace, again, for that high volume, maybe average case size of policies for those producers and businesses out there that are seeing those kinds of clients. And then secondly is the competitiveness of their living benefits and their unique approach to this compared to really kind of the old way that a lot of the other IUL companies have done this. And we're going to run into some comparisons without getting too deep in the weeds. John's going to supply you, and the folks at Vision Advisors are going to be there to walk you through any of these cases, as well as Ameritas. They've got a really good sales desk, both for pre-sale and post-sale, when clients need to make some of these decisions, and walk you through all that and support you going forward. But again, household IUL and groups and producers that focus some of their practice around that need for living benefits, that's really where this product's going to sing. So we'll get right into it. And the first piece we're going to cover is going to be on the living benefits. Now, you all have been on a number of webinars, and I like to try to give something. Again, this is the former producer in me coming out, but I like to give something that could be done even on a yellow pad, even though we're not sitting together and talking over a yellow pad. But when I look at the Ameritas IUL, and I look at a household, a lot of the examples you're going to see are going to be a client in their 40s. Folks in that stage of their life are reaching or getting real close to the, their kind of career track. They know what they're going to be doing for, majority of the rest of their working years. And they're starting to see elevations in income. They've got a lot of responsibilities, mortgage, kids, a spouse that are dependent on them. And so there's a lot to protect there. And this IUL really is built for what I call the good, the bad, and the ugly scenario. The good being that it works exactly as it should from the standpoint of saving for retirement. And there are no additional needs along the way that we need to take from this contract. And it works just as it does. It's a opportunity for a client to get tax-free loans from that contract and subsidize their retirement income once they decide to leave the workforce. And again, that's the prettiest story that we can paint. The bad, obviously, when folks in those demographics, their 40s, they're reaching max income, they've got dependents and bills to pay. Obviously, we're out there talking about life insurance for death benefit protection, for legacy protection, replacement of income, college savings, whatever it might be. That is the bad. Again, what happens if this person passes away prematurely, unexpectedly? What happens to all the goals of that family? What happens to the debt? What happens to the lifestyle of the survivors? And then there's the third, which is the ugly, where someone has a critical chronic illness and they survive and they need care for a certain amount of time. What that can do to folks' retirement savings, what it can do to some of their death benefit plans, life insurance plans is detrimental. When they talk about folks that don't have long-term care protection or they don't have, let's say, disability insurance, the first bills that stop getting paid are typically their term policies, their whole life policies, their life insurance policies tend to lapse just simply because they need that money that they're paying in premiums to go somewhere else and take care of their care because they don't have anything else in place to take care of that. So again, a story that you can formulate around this product is the good, the bad, and the ugly. Helping the client save for potential tax-free income in retirement, the bad being protecting them in the event of a premature death and protecting their survivors and their legacy, and the ugly, protecting everything in between, whether it be chronic critical illness, and we're going to get into that right now. So when you compare these to the other IULs in the marketplace and you look at the living benefits and how they pay them, there's a couple of advantages that we're going to get into with Ameritas. The first question here, who has the most triggers? That's going to be the next slide, and we'll show you what we're talking about. But basically, when it comes to the living benefit piece, what has the most protection? What protects you from the most instances where you would need to tap into or adjust detrimentally your overall financial plan? How soon and how much can you access? Again, that's pivotal for when these things occur because 9 times out of 10 they are unexpected. And what happens to the other pieces of the puzzle when you use them? What's it do to the overall policy? Does it change the integrity of the policy? Does it change the things that are working, the mechanics of the policy for the other things that you're trying to accomplish? Again, the good and the bad, the retirement income and the death benefit. So we talked about triggers. You can see how soon you can access and how many triggers there are. There are 18 total. You can see the 15 critical, the 2 chronic, and the 1 terminal. Again, this is the most that I've seen in the marketplace when it comes to laying out, okay, here are the number of ways that you can access this money. 18 is the most I've seen. You see a lot of the usual suspects on there: stroke, major heart attack, life-threatening cancer, and then the chronic 2 of 6 ADLs for at least 90 days, dressing, toileting, transferring, continence, eating, and bathing, and the terminal if the doctor certifies that you've 12 months or less to live. None of these are fun things to talk about with your clients, but there's nothing more important to be talking about with your clients. If you're out there talking about the fun stuff like I used to be, talking about their retirement savings, talking about their plans and how much they can put away, for those golden years, you got to be talking about the things that can disrupt that plan. And that's exactly what this slide is about. John, any comments you want to make here on the 18 triggers that Ameritas allows versus some of the competition that you've seen out there?
I was fixing to jump in and say something right there, Jeremy, so thank you. A lot of folks in the IUL space today that offer these living benefits typically focus on chronic and terminal. And oftentimes you don't see the critical benefits built into it. There's only a handful of players that deal in the critical space. And as Jeremy said, this is one of the most lucrative offers that we have in that space. The other, I think, key selling point is that many of these situations where you're looking at where do they fit, how quickly you can access that. Being able to access benefits after 30 days of having a stroke, or 90 days after being paralyzed, or only 4 days after going into a coma, that gives people money when they need it. And as you've heard in the ongoing series I've been doing on longevity, for those of you that have been following our channel that we have out on YouTube, we talk a lot about longevity and the issues that are coming into play. Matter of fact, one of the articles I referenced was a Popular Science article that was published in the summer of 2018. It said, "This is how we die in America." And it talked about the fact that we're now living long enough for these critical and chronic illnesses to actually manifest to the point that they're physically taking us out, and that's what's killing us today. And this is something that many retirees have not planned for in the early years of their lives. And so having a product like this that can provide additional income if needed, but can also be that safety net in the event they get sick along the way, is extremely powerful. And this is one of the best. Matter of fact, the team here at Vision has gotten very excited about this product being rolled out because of the breadth of living benefits that it brings to the table.
Excellent. Yeah, and just the overall fact, a couple things that you hit on, is the fact that we are all living longer, and with that comes the risk, increased risk of getting sick in some way, shape, or form. So this is a reality. This is not break glass in case of needed. These are things that are happening every day. We've all got our direct experiences with these types of things. And again, we're out there telling the good story, trying to protect clients from these types of things completely upsetting their financial plan. So here we're going to look at the comparison between an actuarial discount approach on the left and then the Ameritas lean approach on the right. So when you look at a $500,000 death benefit and how much can be paid, well, you look at the discount approach, we're going to accelerate $381,000 through a $2,500 a month. It looks at the life expectancy, the severity, and they basically will accelerate 90 or 100% of that. And what that does in doing the actuarial approach is it's accelerating the entire death benefit in some way, shape, or form. And it forces the policy to change, forces the inner mechanics to change. The cash value comes down significantly. The overall death benefit comes down significantly. The client is still getting, again, their immediate need taken care of, getting access to the cash through that. But again, the good and the bad, the retirement saving and the future death benefit have completely been compromised because of this discounted approach. When you look at the lean approach, the numbers up there in the red bubble, 25% for critical, 50% for chronic, 75% for terminal. I love the fact that that is just stamped right there. Here's exactly what you're going to get off of your policy if you have one of these illnesses today. And then it goes from a lean approach where your remaining death benefit is basically just reduced by the amount that you're taking out. So we're going to get into this in a couple of additional slides. Anything you want to add here, John?
No, I like this approach because it provides more flexibility, and it really has the opportunity to keep a residual death benefit in force, unlike the discounted approach that they're going to pay it out and it's done. Right.
You have lost control, really, of your entire contract that you've worked so hard, to go through underwriting. You've worked years and years to fund, and something like this, as terrible as it is, and as much as we want the client to survive that and get the care that they need, it does completely upset all of the long-term goals that were what this contract was built around on the left side. And we'll go into this example a little bit more. So here's an example, hypothetical, 45-year-old male, standard, non-tobacco, funding $12,000 for 20 years, $1 million death benefit option A. And so here we dive in at age 65 on the left. The last premium is paid of $12,000. That account value is sitting at $317,000. Cash value matches that, and you got the death benefit of $1,000. Let's take that same policy and extrapolate it out over 40 years. You can see what that does to the account value over $4 million, cash value and death benefit match. If we go over to Lee on the right side of that line, Lee takes a $250,000 critical illness lien at age 65. So now you see that new column on the far right, the lien balance. The $250,000, that lien balance grows at 2.5% a year, which when we get into how this contract performs and when you look at what that allows the remainder of the contract to preserve, the goals that are still kept intact, that is a minimal price to pay for being able to have access to this cash without completely blowing up the policy as a whole and compromising those other goals. So if we jump down to, let's say, age 76, well, most importantly, you can see the account value is still fully intact. It still matches the illustration on the left side of the line under Bob, because again, the account value is protected from the lien. It's purely acting as a classic lien. The cash value is reduced in the event that the client would surrender the policy. They're going to shore up that lien balance within the cash value before they distribute that, and in the death benefit. Now, when you see how the contract works over time, it will still continue on the account value side, 100% untouched, performing as it was. On the death benefit, it continues to work progressively as well and gets back above 1.5 million. Even with that lien balance growing at 2.5%. Anything that jumps out at you here, John?
No, again, I think, Jeremy, this is just a classic example of how the lien approach against the death benefit actually allows the life insurance contract to continue to perform as life insurance, and the index is to continue to provide that value that keeps this product sustainable for a longer period of time.
Right, and before we keep going through the additional illustrations, a couple comments I want to make for the producers on the phone. Illustrations can be daunting, and it can feel like you're maybe showing something that's not realistic. Ameritas is using a very conservative illustrated rate here of 6.9%. And secondly, when it comes time to have these conversations with your client, they do have a sales desk, again, pre-sale, post-sale, to walk you and your client through these options, show you illustrations of what happens to the contract from the cash value and the death benefit standpoint, because again, the account value is going to remain intact and continue to perform. But again, they've got a desk that's trained to walk folks through this, even post-sale, and make sure they know exactly what this looks like in the event going forward they take out that lien for the care that they need. So pretty powerful stuff. And again, there's the big brother there to help you on the other end of the line when situations come up and walk you through these policies. So that was scenario one, where we had to take a lien for an illness. Here's scenario two, where there's no illness, but we're going to take income through variable loans from ages 65 to 85. Same hypothetical example. You got Bob on the left side, and then we jump into the account value where, again, we're going to start taking that $25,600 annually. You see that as a loan balance starting in age 66, and that is that new column on the far right. You can see how that manifests across to the account value, to the cash value, and the death benefit. Again, client is pulling almost $3.3 million out of this contract, and continuing to retain the death benefit, still has cash value to keep the policy intact, and again, has that flexibility from tax-free income through variable loans to, again, subsidize whatever it is they're trying to do, early retirement, a little bit of an elevated retirement lifestyle, or again, just controlling their tax bracket through a good chunk of their annual income coming from this kind of policy. Now, before I mash the two together, John, any comments here?
You know, one of the strategies we talk about, Jeremy, in our Your Retirement Reality solution that we present to producers to share with their clients as they're looking at the 20 or 30 years of retirement that many people are going to be living in today, we talk about opportunities to engage an additional pool of money to offset inflation as people are living longer and longer and needing
Sure.
more money just to maintain their standard of living. This IUL product creates a unique opportunity to grow an asset that down the road we have an opportunity to take money out income tax free. And if you do the math and they live to the age of, 106, which, today 1 in 4 females are going to live to the age of 96. So we're pushing that longevity envelope. The ability to be able to receive income and still have a significant death benefit is a powerful story to tell. And the fact that you can take a life insurance product and use it while you're still alive. My dad's growing up, he always said life insurance is misnamed because it only works when you're dead. They should call it death insurance. And with the new products we have today, and my dad actually owns a single premium version of a product similar to this, my dad says, I finally have a product that is life insurance that I can use while I'm alive. So this is a very powerful benefit, and it's a great story that you as a producer are going to be able to tell. And this is one of the solutions that we can bring to the table as we're helping you solve those longevity issues.
Absolutely. And dependent on how the folks on the phone position their conversations with their clients, whether it starts with the cash value piece or you've gone through the death benefit conversation through looking at their term options. Okay, here's kind of the next step, the evolution of that product, still protecting the death benefit and protecting the family in the event of a premature death. But again, here is maximum control from a retirement standpoint. You might have clients that have inflated 401ks, 457s, IRAs, all of that. Again, there's that one piece that we can't control, and that's taxes. We can vote for our state and national Congress and hope they pass the right bills and all of that. But when it comes down to how much of our money we're going to keep, that's completely out of our control. And that's where a contract like this can come in, because you do retain control. You can turn it on, turn it off, and again, subsidize all the other investing that your clients are doing with this as a foundation piece that has, again, maximum leverage, which is shown no better than on this next slide. There we go. So this is an example of taking income after taking a living benefit. Same hypothetical example. Lee takes a $250,000 critical illness lien at age 65. That looks pretty familiar to the slide a couple slides back. And then on the right side, they take that income as variable loans age 65 through 85. And you can see now we have the loan balance and the lien balance being reflected in the death benefit and the cash value, with the account value still very healthy, still performing. The client took out $250,000 to take care of that immediate emergency, and then still has the control, the maximum leverage to get $14,000 out of this contract annually, tax-free, without detonating all of the goals that were put in place. And again, I position this as the good, the bad, the ugly. We've protected all three. We've accomplished all three, still have the death benefit intact at $1.7 million at age 106. Again, maximum leverage. This is a really pretty picture to me, John. I don't know about you.
This slide right here really sums this product up. The ability to be able to address, those life events that happen, but still seeing that we've got a product that creates cash that we can use to supplement income down the road. I think this is really the telltale slide that really speaks to the value of this, opportunity with the Ameritas IUL.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we've covered, again, the good, the bad, the ugly, the maximum leverage within this contract. Let's go back to the accumulation side and dive into that a little bit. And we talked about really the two sweet spots for the Ameritas Flex IUL being the household IUL for trying to win on accumulation, subsidized retirement income, and then the living benefits need, which we just walked through. The accumulation piece is really anchored by this proprietary index from Ameritas, the BNP Paribas. And I used to say Paribas, which I was told when I visited the carrier that was wrong. But this is their proprietary index, the BNP Momentum 5. You can see what they offer there in 1 year, 2 year uncapped participation rate strategies. We're going to show you some real returns from that. But also when you look at the SP 500, that's a competitive participation rate there in the 1 year at 140%. They do have the 2-year option if you're looking to stagger and do some laddering. And then they've also got the Russell 2000 index. The conversations that we had when we visited the carrier, it was a nice combination of strong indices in the BNP Paribas and the S&P 500, where the client knows and is familiar with the S&P 500. They can follow it in the newspaper if they'd like. They like at least having their conversation start there, maybe some of their annual premium going into there. But then they like the idea of the BNP Paribas after we get into some of the dynamic behind it as to how it works, what it's doing for the client behind the scenes. S&P 500 is a great opportunity. 500 are the largest held opportunities for clients to invest their money being managed as an index. That's a really great story. That's a story that stands the test of time. The BNP Paribas is again, kind of an evolution to that, with the strong participation rates of 170 in the 1 year and 225 in the 2 year. Now, carriers are starting to present this when they come out with these unique or alternative indices, proprietary indices. They want to show you how it works. They want to show you what it's done. Here you can see actual credited returns to FLX IUL clients over the last 2 years. And those are strong numbers, an average return of 6.4 in the BNP and 4.9 in the S&P 500. So great story here. This is a slide that's actually in a marketing piece that's built around the BNP Paribas that's available for you to take out and walk through with your clients. When we get into the nuts and bolts of this index, really there's 3 layers. And the first one we're showing here is the diversification through the use of ETFs. There's your standard equity and bond ETFs. There are international exposure there. There's a lot of names that you're familiar with, the Russell, the Morgan. They've also got crude oil, gold in there if you want specific commodity future indices. But these are 14 pieces that the index can pick from. And what they're doing is they're selecting the 8 most advantageous given the current or most recent risk environment. So the first step is a diversification. What's available for the client's dollars to be invested in. The second is a dynamic allocation. Again, this is coming up with the 8 components that are working the best given the current rate environment. And then the third is the risk control. That's where the number 5 comes in, is they try to maintain a 5% average volatility, again, through picking these 8, and that volatility is an additional overlay, the highest weights on low volatility components, and really coming up with a great mix that's going to help maximize what that client is looking to do. Then you lay on top of that the 170 participation rate. It really is a great story, and it's very simple to understand. Some of these unique indices really get deep, really get in the weeds. This is one, again, with the use, and all of these slides that you're seeing are in the piece that John will have and Vision Advisors will have available to you. Really lays it out nicely as to what the 14 components available are, how they get to the 8, and then overlaying the volatility as part of that selection process. Again, diversification, dynamic allocation, and risk control through the 5% volatility. John, anything to add here?
Jeremy, as I look at where the evolution of these indices have gone, one of the things I like about the BNP strategy as compared to the Russell or the S&P, although those are great strategies that have held the test of time, the S&P 500 and the Russell 2000 are static, and there's very little change in those. And so if the indexes start moving in a negative direction, there's nothing the underlying manager is going to do because they're going to hold those for the duration. With the BNP strategy, the nice thing about it is if one of the sectors that are there, if it begins to underperform, this is actively managed and this is actively traded. So they have an opportunity intra-year as these indices are moving and they're monitoring this on a daily basis to move in and out of these 14 strategies that are available so that you can actually have an opportunity for your clients to get a better opportunity to see a positive return, especially in a volatile market. Now, we're 11 years into a bull market, and there's a lot of volatility right now. So the ability to manage that volatility and be able to move creates a unique opportunity your clients haven't had previously. So while they love the S&P and they know it, they may want to put a portion of the money in BNP so that they can also have an actively managed strategy that gives them a chance to really boost those returns.
Absolutely. A tool that I point advisors to is the JP Morgan Guide to the Markets. It's just a Google search, and then it's really a slide deck that's made free and updated every month by JP Morgan. I think slide number 3 or 4 is the S&P 500 20-year historic graph. And again, we're talking about a great story, the S&P 500, huge diversification over 500 equity options. But again, in that graph, we see a ton of volatility. And again, there's no one really actively managing that index. It's just a measurement. Where here, not only are we looking at most recent market conditions, we're looking at equities and bonds in real time, as well as future opportunities, and locking in current opportunities within those future options. So you combine that with the selection process down to 8 and the focus on 5% volatility. It really is a great story. It's a unique story. And again, the client has the option for both within the Ameritas FLX IUL. There's also another way to achieve accumulation through the account value bonus. This is really kind of a benefit for loyalty. Clients hold on to the contract, they get through the 10-year surrender schedule. Now we get in year 11 plus, we get a guaranteed bonus of at least 25 basis points. There's also 50 basis points currently. So it will never drop below 25. Right now it sits at 50, and that is credited to the client as a nice little boost at year 11 and beyond. Now, are you always making the absolute best choice? Again, we know ease of business is a big deal when it comes to working with an IUL company and getting comfortable with an IUL company. And the biggest things there, kind of the elephant in the room, is underwriting, right? And things you need to consider, what your client's going to go through to get this contract. They do have a true non-med platform at Ameritas. They're under 70, up to 300,000, and preferred non-tobacco. They can get through underwriting. They can get a FLX IUL contract with non-med being taken. That's a nice convenience for the client. It takes that I got to schedule my physical. I got to go through all of this. And we all hear the stories of how many potential placement of contracts die because of the client just not wanting to go through that. We see it every day. So here's a really nice kind of umbrella, if you will. You're under 70, you check all the boxes, up to 300,000 of face amount, and preferred non-tobacco. You can get through that process as a true non-med experience. John, are you seeing anything like this with a product this competitive out there?
You know, this is a good number. I mean, if you think about the fact that your target market for these individuals, you're likely going to be contacting individuals somewhere between 35 and 55 to start this opportunity to really see success with an IUL. And the ability to not have to deal with peeing in a cup, not having to, have blood drawn and have that sent off and delaying the underwriting process, this clients love, because they have an opportunity to qualify for a decent amount of life insurance to cover their needs, and it turns much quicker than what we see. So this is a competitive advantage, again, that I think you're going to find in the marketplace. It's going to be very, very helpful if you're selling IUL, especially in that younger market that, because of the lifestyle they live, don't want to take time out, or they're not really excited about having somebody invade their house or office to, measure them, poke, and prod on them. This is a great opportunity for them to be able to move forward with life insurance and do it in an expeditious manner.
Absolutely. And I feel like the industry is trying to go this way. It's really tough on the life insurance side. It's much easier on the annuity side, where they're getting almost as close to direct to consumer as they can. With the life insurance side, it's a much steeper climb. But again, just finding the time to go through the exam and get it scheduled and have the nurse come to the home. And if you're like me and you tend to get a little lightheaded at the sight of needles, this slide is music to my eyes. Carriers, we have the opportunity at Partners Advantage to work with 40 different carriers, and why we're focusing on Ameritas as a core is really going to be covered in the next few slides. They've doubled what they're doing from a premium standpoint since January 2018. In an annual increase, in growth, they've doubled. They've added a team of national account managers, one of which we work with really closely. They've got the new business call center and the sales support team that we talked about, walking clients and producers through pre-sale, post-sale, and they're very adamant in broadening their marketplace. They've got 3 folks on that desk that speak Spanish. So for those of you doing business in those parts of the country and have the Spanish speaking clientele, this is a huge opportunity for you to reach out to Ameritas, get comfortable with those folks and utilize them as much as you can. They want to help, they want to grow, and they've been added to that team to do so, to grow that premium number. Some of the company highlights, again, we're not going to get you in front of a carrier and put our faith in a carrier if the numbers aren't right and the ratings aren't strong. You can see they check all those boxes here. A solid Midwest company there in Lincoln, Nebraska. I visited their office. It's a beautiful office, but again, it's got a very mutual feel to it. They want to get as close to the producer as possible and help the client achieve what they're trying to do. You can see that through the growth of the staff on the previous slide. And then again, they've got the financial backing through the $3 billion of benefit paid to policyholders, $30.3 billion in assets under management, 4 million total customers. And then you've got the strong ratings with AM Best and Standard & Poor's, which, again, I understand for producers that can be very important. That can be the stopping place if the numbers and the letters aren't right for clients to put that illustration, for producers to put that illustration in front of their clients. We totally understand that. We're going to put you in good hands. And then from marketing material, they've got a great website. John's going to send you some of those links. They've got a ton of support, and the marketing materials are fantastic. The contracting has been super easy from what we've seen, as that team is really hands-on and want to get that moving as quickly as possible. And they've got the new marketing tools in Spanish if that's something that can benefit your business. Absolutely get your hands on those and flip through them, see if it's something you can utilize in your practice. Do they bring opportunities to your business, and do they fit your business model? Again, that's a question that you can answer. But again, the unique story of keeping the financial goals after a lean benefit, after an illness, and being able to preserve, again, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and what that policy can do without upsetting the mechanics, not giving up on the legacy portion, the wealth transfer portion, the tax-free income portion. They got the BNP Paribas proprietary index with an uncapped participation rate of 170%. They've got the non-medical story, 300,000 under 70 and non-tobacco preferred, and then the Spanish support. It is a unique company. They're going to continue to improve, and they want to get as close to Vision advisors and you all as producers as possible. So thank you very much for taking the time to listen to this. Ameritas is an important piece to what we're trying to do when it comes to getting the right carriers that support our model, that support the Vision advisor model, and at the end of the day, provide good products to help our clients, and that's the ultimate goal. We're excited for this relationship going forward, and we hope you are too. John, I will pass it over to you, and thank you again for letting me be a part of this.
Absolutely. Jeremy, thank you. Guys and gals that were watching this, I don't know if you picked up on one of the subtle things that Jeremy touched on a couple of times. They are making a significant investment into the Spanish-speaking community, because one of the things that we are finding is that as the Spanish community is growing and they are seeing opportunity, they are understanding and living the American dream just like the rest of us are. They are buying cash value life insurance because they see the benefit in that for themselves and ultimately for their family. So this is another unique market niche that you can move into. But I, like Jeremy, have had an opportunity to visit the Ameritas facility. Amazing people. They bend over backwards to do what is necessary to help you see success. And they're friendly, fun people to work with, because you're not dealing with somebody up north that, has the northern attitude, or you're not dealing with somebody out on the West Coast that, has that c'est la vie attitude. They're there to work every single day, and they are focused on helping you see success in selling IUL. We're excited about this opportunity here at Vision. We're excited about our partnership that we've had for several years now with Partners Advantage as one of their platinum shops. And we are looking forward to an opportunity to help you see success with Ameritas. So if you've got an opportunity, you're working on an IUL, or you've got a specific case that's come up and something we've talked about today has really touched one of your hot buttons, give us a call here at Vision Advisors, 1-800-505-8489. Speak to Melissa or Gary. You can speak to me as well, and we'd be happy to talk with you about how this solution might fit, run an illustration, help you get appointed, and do what's necessary to help you help your clients see success. Jeremy, thank you again for being on the call. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us. Hope you have an amazing day, and we look forward to the next opportunity to help you see success.